Hey, what's up guys? It's Swift. Yeah, you guys see the title of the video. Unfortunately, it's true. Killing Floor 3 is bad. And it's not just because it's a beta. It's really not a beta. I don't care what it says. It's not a beta. It's a glorified demo. What you see on the screen is pretty much where you're gonna get. They're not gonna make any major changes. This game is not good, and I'm gonna give you guys my reasons why. Before we begin, I just want to let you guys know that I've played all of the maps, all of the difficulties. I've mostly played Commando, but that's because I wanted to grind to get close to the max level for Hell on Earth. But I've also played Engineer, Firebug, Ninja, Sharpshooter, so I feel like I've played this game enough to get a good feel of the game, and honestly, it's not good. It's not good at all. Let me start with the performance. If there's anyone out there who played the beta and you were suffering performance issues, just know that it's not you. I have a 4090, a 14900K, and 64 gigabytes of RAM. This game ran terribly on my system. There was a lot of stuttering, a lot of slowdowns. It was absolutely ridiculous, especially since you look at the game and it doesn't even look that good, right? I'm not saying the graphics are terrible or anything, but even on the ultra settings, the graphics just does not look good. And it's not like I'm playing on 4K or anything. I'm playing on 1440p. Even on 1440p, this game runs terribly, and I think that's a shame. First of all, if you're one of those people who did not like KF2, but you were hoping that KF3 was going to return to its original roots, I just want to say that's delusional. That is very, very delusional. KF3 is worse than KF1 and KF2 in every possible way you can imagine. This game is not good. It's not good as a killing floor game, and it's not even a good game by itself, right? It's just a generic slop of a shooter. One of my least favorite things about Killing Floor 3, it has to be the movement. The movement in Killing Floor 3 is so much worse than KF1 and KF2. The movement feels like you're walking through mud. It feels stiff, janky, awkward, and I think it's funny considering that Tripwire actually tried to go for a fast-paced shooter, but they failed at that. The game sometimes feels slow, and it's because it's just awkward to get around the map. Even when they added new stuff like dashing and sliding, even those felt awkward. Like, the dash didn't feel that impactful to me. It doesn't even feel like they should really have it in the game. And the sliding, there's just something off about the sliding. It feels slow. And I noticed that whenever I try to slide, there's like this delay in getting up, right? Like in other games, like for example, Black Ops or Modern Warfare, you know, those are games that they're trying to copy, so I think it's a fair comparison. But in those games, I can cancel the slide animation and quickly try to get back up. But in Killing Floor 3, you're stuck in this slide animation and it feels awkward when you're standing back up, if that makes sense. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content so far, please leave a like, and if you want to be part of the first 100 subscribers, consider subscribing now. I'm going to make a lot of content like this in the future. Let's get back to the video. The animations in KF3 is so abysmal, and I think it's because, like I said in my previous video, I think it's because that KF2, they had motion captured animations, whereas in KF3, they had to animate everything from scratch. And hey, if they couldn't afford to get motion capture, I get it, you know. Again, Tripwire is not a AAA company, so they don't have like a huge budget. I get it, right? But they should have at least gotten skilled animators, because it's not, the animations, they don't look bad just compared to KF2. They look bad in general. It looks like a mobile game. And by the way, when people say that this game looks like a cheap mobile game, they're not exaggerating. I thought that they were exaggerating, but when I play this game for myself and I actually see it, this game feels like a mobile game. Like the way that the Zeds move, it's all slow and awkward, and the reload animations is choppy, in my opinion. It doesn't feel natural or smooth. And the gunplay in KF3 is so disappointing. I mean, I don't know if it's because of the animations or anything like that, but the gunplay does not feel impactful. It does not feel like my bullets are really doing anything. Like, yeah, sure, I'm killing them, but like there's not enough feedback, really. Yeah, the gore system is nice, but there's something else that's missing. I don't know if it's because, like I said, the animations. I don't know if it's because of the sound effects. The sound effects is definitely lacking. I even turned off my music just to listen to the sound effects, and they don't sound that good. I compared it to even KF2, and it did not sound nearly as good. That goes for the guns, that goes for the actual bullet impact. Maybe it's because the weapons are hit scan this time. That could be the case, I don't know. But shooting Zeds and killing Zeds, they don't feel as satisfying. And that's just not something you want to experience in a kill and floor game. When you're killing Zeds, that's supposed to be the number one most important thing. And speaking of killing Zeds, I'm not a fan of the execution thing either. I'm not a fan of the quick time event. Oh my god, the quick time events, like, it feels like they're pretty much non-stop. Like, every single time I turn a corner, there's a Zed there waiting to grab me, and I gotta press V, and like, it's really annoying. But I'm not a fan of the executions on the Scrakes and the Flesh Pounds because it doesn't feel like it fits the game. Not just KF, right? Not just the franchise. It doesn't even feel like it fits in that particular game. They tried to copy Doom, but like, here's the weird thing about it. They're trying to make KF3 fast-paced, but at the same time, the pacing is so inconsistent and it's so off, and the movements are clumsy and stuff. So the executions, they feel out of place. They're trying so hard to copy Doom, and they're failing at that. And, you know, it's the same animation over and over for the Scrakes and the Flesh Pounds. So maybe once or twice the executions, they look cool, but trust me, they get old really quick. And I'm not a fan of the other changes that they've made, such as, you know, for example, the Z time. The Zeds are now highlighted in red when Z time is activated, and you can see the Zeds through the walls, and I don't like that. I don't like the fact that they're giving you free wall hacks. And I also don't like the fact that there's a meter for you to fill up to activate Z time. I much prefer when it's random, because it added this element of unpredictability, and I really like the randomness of that, honestly, I really do. Especially when you get the Z time at just the right moment, like by chance you get the Z time when you're backed against a corner, and you know, you need to reevaluate your surroundings and stuff. And if you're a commando, you can extend the Z time and move out of there. Like, random stuff like that is very fun. But the fact that they added a meter to it, it kind of kills the anticipation of, like, oh my god, like, when's the next Z time gonna come? Like, I really need a Z time right now. But yeah, they added a meter to it. I don't really like that. That's actually one of the things that I don't like, but at the same time, it didn't ruin my experience. Like, there's far more bigger issues aside from the Z time. What I don't like is the fact that syringes are limited. And I feel like with that, the difficulty, it feels more artificial. Because I feel like when they add a limit to the syringes instead of a cooldown, it just adds artificial difficulty. And artificial difficulty is something I do not like. I don't like the fact that the syringes are limited, and I don't like the fact that the Scrakes and the Flesh Pounds are bullet sponges. Unless you're playing as, I don't know, engineer. I found taking out Scrakes and Flesh Pounds as engineer as extremely easy. Like, I didn't even have to think about it. So maybe it's just the fact that I'm playing as commando, and commando isn't really suitable for taking out Flesh Pounds and Scrakes. Now, as far as the specialists go, I can't talk too much about that, at least not until the game fully comes out, because I just don't have the time to grind every single character to max level and experiment with the different skills and the different difficulties. Because what I like to do, I like to play Hell on Earth. That's my preferred difficulty. And obviously, before you can play Hell on Earth, unless you're like really, really good at the game, you got to get your character to a certain level, right? So I would rather wait until the game comes out, and then I'll have plenty of time to grind to grind out every character and experiment with as many playstyles as I want. But what I'm gonna say here about the specialists is that I was completely right. I was completely right all along. I've made plenty of videos bashing the specialist system, and it is as terrible as I thought it was gonna be. The voice lines are terrible. The character models obviously are bad. Probably even worse than the voice lines, because at least you can mute. Because think about it, at least you can mute the specialists. You shouldn't have to mute them because the characters in KF1 and KF2 had a lot of good personality and the lines were entertaining, so you shouldn't even have to mute them, but at least you have that option. You can't just stop looking at your character, right? They all look terrible. They all look terrible, and I knew it. I knew it from the beginning that the specialist system was going to be bad. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Mr. Foster in Killing Floor 3 is bad. I was looking forward to playing Mr. Foster because he's one of my personal favorites of the KF franchise, and they ruined him. They ruined him. Like, not only did they change the voice actor, but the dialogue itself is not good. It's not funny. They're all trying to do these one-liners like it's a Marvel movie. And they're all referencing their perks and stuff. And you know what? That's actually something I was worried about as well. That's why I was calling this game Concord, because I knew they were going to do something stupid like this and try to like connect their voice lines with the perk and make funny puns. They're not funny at all, by the way. But I knew they were going to do something stupid like this. And I was right all along. I even made a video about this a few weeks ago, I believe. And I tried telling you guys, Tripwire insulted our intelligence by coming up with this phony, stupid reason why the specialist system is in the game. People didn't want to hear it. And don't even get me started on the maps. The maps in Killing Floor 3 feels lazy, uninspired, bland, generic, and boring. And regardless of how you feel about the previous games, those are words that I would not describe any map in Killing Floor 1 or Killing Floor 2. Even the bad maps has some sort of identity. And you can't say the same about Killing Floor 3. Killing Floor 3 overall just feels soulless and lifeless, and you can see it right here in these maps. And I know a lot of people have been saying this, but it's true. It feels like an asset flip. I'm sorry, but it's just how I feel. Literally feels like I'm playing in some sort of template. And speaking of template, that's what the UI looks like. That's what the UI in the Trader Pod looks like. Like, this game just feels unfinished. And I already know, again, I already know some shill is going to come out and say, well, it's just a beta. It's just a beta. It's going to be different when it launches. No, it's not. No, it's not. This is the final game. How many changes are they going to make in a month from now? Be honest with yourself. How many changes are they going to make a month from now? This is the final product, pretty much. Maybe they'll have some patches. Maybe they'll fix some things before the game launches. But those are just minor stuff. Those are just going to be like performance issues and maybe some balancing issues. But overall, the UI, the maps, the animations, like, how are they going to fix that stuff? Oh my god, I can't believe I almost forgot about this. The player hub. Or they call it the strongholds, whatever. That has to be one of the most unnecessary additions to Killing Floor 3. I have no idea why. Well, no, I do understand why they added it. They're trying to copy other modern games that, once again, these modern games, they always have to include some sort of player hub, some additional way to waste your time. And that's what this is. It's just a waste of time. What's wrong with just a simple menu? Why can't we just keep things simple? Nobody asked for a player hub. I don't understand it. And on top of that, the player hub, it doesn't even look anything that special. It looks boring. It looks generic. It looks bland. But you know what? Killing Floor 3 isn't all that bad. They did one very important thing that I feel like we should give them credit for. And we should all come together and say this is a great thing, okay? One great thing that Killing Floor 3 has done is they set an example of why you should never ignore your player base. They ignored everybody for so long, and it's gonna come back to bite them. Trust me. When this game comes out, they'll have a few thousand players. I don't doubt that. But after a while, the game is gonna drop off and it's going to die. The reason why it's gonna die, and the reason why I said in my previous video that the game is DOA, is because they're making the fatal mistake of trying to chase a wider audience that, once again, they don't care about Killing Floor. They did not have an investment in Killing Floor. They already had their core player base that's been with them since KF1, and you even got some people that were with them since before that, since the mod, right? So instead of focusing on the player base that's guaranteed to stick with you and give you money, you instead alienate them in favor of a new audience, a new casual audience that will come in, play your game for maybe a month, if you're even lucky to get that, and they're going to abandon your game for the next shiny new thing. I don't know what they were thinking. And I don't want to hear the Shills say, oh, you just wanted KF1. You just wanted a remake of KF1 with updated graphics and all that. Oh, you're blinded by nostalgia. You just want your childhood back. And I'm like, that's such a stupid argument. A sequel is supposed to build off of the previous game, right? It's supposed to take what made the previous game so successful and build off of that. They're not supposed to make a new game and take it off in a completely different direction. This is not Killing Floor. I'm sorry, this is not Killing Floor. And again, that argument is stupid. That argument is so stupid because, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we wanted them to remake KF1. That would have been much better than whatever we got here. You know what? A Killing Floor 1 game with 2025 graphics would have been a million times better than whatever we got. A cheap knockoff version of Black Ops. And it's crazy to me to see how the Shills are just living in denial. I see so many people on Reddit, on Twitter, on YouTube, these comment sections, telling people that they played the beta, it's nothing like what they expected, and you know what, they either refunded the game, or they simply said, you know what, I'm not even going to buy this at all. I'm going to remove this from my wish list, I'm going to refund the game, I'm not playing this game, maybe I'll check it out on sale, whatever. You know, like, Tripwire already lost money. Like, Tripwire is already losing out on profit. And another thing that I find insane is the way that they rolled out the beta keys. In my personal opinion, I feel like if you pre-ordered the game, you should have gotten a key automatically, but that's just me. But they probably did that because if they gave everybody who pre-ordered the game a beta key and they played this game for themselves, they would have broken the record. They would have set the record for the most refunds before the game launched, right? They would have set a whole new record. And maybe Tripwire was correct to not do that. Maybe, I don't know. But it's just insane to see that the Shills are just living in denial. They're denying reality. They're denying the fact that so many people don't like the direction of Killing Floor 3. And it's just a shame. It's just a shame that Tripwire is ignoring the player base and you're not even allowed to give any sort of feedback. So you know what? It is what it is. Whatever happens to this game is whatever. You know? We've already explained to them many times what they should have done or what they shouldn't have done. And they wanted to do whatever they wanted. So we're going to do whatever we want and not play the game. And the Shills, they keep moving the goalposts. They tell you, hey, just wait until the gameplay trailer comes out. The gameplay trailer comes out. It doesn't look that great. Okay, wait until the beta. The beta comes out, we play it, it's not good. And then they move the goalposts again and they say, well, it's just a beta. No, it's not. No, it's not. You know it's not just a beta. But the game comes out, the game is going to be bad. We play the game on launch day and they're going to say, well, just wait for patches. And here's my fear. They're going to say, wait for mods, right? Like the player base is responsible for fixing this game. Absolutely unreal. Unreal, dude. But that's just the gaming community in a nutshell. It really is, man. It's really the gaming community in a nutshell. It's not exclusive to just Killing Floor. It's the entire community, dude. Like, it's never the developer's fault. It's always the player's fault. And if you don't like it, you don't buy it. And if we don't like it and we don't buy it, then the game flops. And then people are looking around like, what happened? What happened? I can't believe this happened. Well, we already told you. We gave you guys our feedback. You didn't listen. And then this is what happens. Now, obviously, the game is not out yet, so we'll see. But from what I'm hearing a lot of people who are dissatisfied. I'm hearing a lot of people who had this game on their wish list and they took it out. I'm hearing a lot of people who refunded the game. And I'm not hearing any sort of big traction for this game. Look this game up on YouTube. IGN, ignorant news, by the way. I call them ignorant. They made a video about KF3, didn't even crack 100,000 views. GameSlop made their own video, showed the gameplay of KF3. Nobody was interested. I don't see any big content creator outside of the KF community making videos about this game. This game is getting no traction. Nobody is talking about this game. Nobody cares about this game. And it's because Tripwire's marketing strategy is very weird, because if you're going to try to attract a wider audience, you would expect them to try to attract people with advertisements and stuff like that, but they're not doing that. And like I said earlier, they're alienating their player base. A lot of people who were previously interested in the game are no longer interested. Therefore, they don't have a reason to come back and check out KF3, which means that, you know, from everything that I'm seeing, I just see a disaster. I see DOA. DOA status is guaranteed for this game if they continue down this road. It's going to end up like Payday 3. It might even be worse than Payday 3. And that's impossible to believe. I really don't want to see that. Payday 3 was a disaster, and I never want to see anything like that again. That was an absolute train wreck of a game. Now, if you ask me, what should Tripwire do? They should delay this game. Honestly, I think this game would benefit a lot if they either renamed the game, which they're not going to do. That's very unrealistic. I'm not even pitching that idea as a serious thing, like, because it's very unrealistic. But I would package this as a spin-off game and work on a real KF3 game, right? Or this is the most realistic one. This is probably the only solution they have, is to delay the game for another year or two. I would prefer 2 years, or delay the game for 6 months to a year, release the game in early access, and just work on the game through there. You know, they'll get money from the players during the early access period, and they can use that to make the game better, get better animators, improve the performance, improve the graphics. And yeah, you know, if they do that, I wouldn't have a problem with that. There's no shame in going the early access route if they're going to do it honestly and fairly, right? There's no shame in that. So that's something that they should really look into doing. But at the end of the day, the game is going to come out in a month. Realistically speaking, they're not delaying anything. This is exactly what we're going to get. And you know what? The community deserves it, right? They went so hard in the paint defending the specialist system. They didn't call Tripwire out when they came up with that blatant lie that players need clarity, visual clarity. So they had to make a specialist system because they couldn't identify players by their perks. It was so stupid. And I was like the only person, at least that I'm aware of, on this platform that called it out. And it's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. But hey, it is what it is. Whatever. If this game flops, then it flops. If it doesn't flop, then that's a great thing, I guess. Because, you know, I don't want to see franchises die out. But yeah, it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is this beta good? Is KF3 going to be good? Are you still excited for this game? Let me know how you guys feel. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.